Hello my lovely friends, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you a very simple technique of making shiny stickers more matte and jazzing them up with a little bit of glitter when we're going to use this medium matte gel and these Elmer's glue sticks. And this is super duper simple. And then we're going to sort of tie it all in together with a little bit of white glue and water mix. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint over. I've got these glossy stickers in these journals. This one I've already done. And we're just basically going to first paint on the medium, the gel medium. Then I'm going to go over it with a glue stick and add a little bit of glitter like you can see here. So there's a couple things, however, to be mindful of as you're doing this. And it's super easy. I love how this turned out. I'm thrilled to bits with it, and I'm pretty much gonna be putting glitter on everything from here on end. But these are just really cheap and simple stickers that I believe I got from Temu or Amazon. And I don't know what it is about high gloss stickers, but I'm just not crazy about them. And I've put off using these because of the gloss. But once I did this, and I realized that I loved this technique, then I just put a ton of these stickers in these journals that I'm making, that I am soon going to be putting on my website. So the nice thing is you can choose to put a little bit of glitter on them, or like me, you can choose to use a whole ton of glitter and really jazz them up. But I think it makes all the difference in the world to how the sticker looks once it's not super duper shiny. Like I said, I don't understand what it is about the shiny stickers, but it kind of makes me a little bit crazy. I'm just not, obviously it's a personal preference, but so here we have regular glossy sticker here and a glossy sticker here. And what I had been doing with these journals was, because I wanted to use the stickers up, I just sort of was randomly putting them on different pages, and, sort of like here I did a little collage. There I did a collage. Well, I don't know if you can call it a collage, but I just stuck it over some random dictionary pages. And then I did the skinny ones here. They were a little bit more of a challenge for obvious reasons. Now, here are the glue sticks. I will leave a link to these below. I just got these on Amazon. I believe there was 6 glitter and 6 regular, and these are the colors that came with it, and there is a yellow. Now, sadly, there was no green. I'm not sure why there wasn't a green, but anyways. Now, at some point, I'm going to show you, and I'm coming up right now, each of these glue sticks, when you rub them on the paper, of course, there is a little bit of a color that rubs off with the glitter. So I'm just sort of doing a little bit of a sample test here so you can see. Now, normally this probably isn't really a big deal, but I wanted you to see how strong some of the colors were. The blue, the purple are quite strong, as well as the red. Now, depending on what you're going to be rubbing these on, if you don't want this color to show through, then I recommend you stick with the yellow, which is what I did for the majority of this journal. The pink, I used the pink once or twice, and there's not a lot of color to the pink, but just be aware that they do come, when you rub them off, there's color with them. Now, I found this Liquitex matte gel on Amazon. I had watched Julie from Camellia Crafts Designs. She is this hilarious British gal. She's so funny. I watch her all the time. She makes amazing journals. And she was using this matte medium gel to do the same thing that we're doing. Now, it's not runny, it's not super thick, it's a little bit tacky, it's quite smooth, it goes on it's really easy to use. And anyway, she was doing this, and it piqued my interest, and she had these little tiny stickers that she had bought on Temu, and they were super glossy, and she was just like, I can't use these. So she went and sort of did the same thing. She was doing clusters, if I remember correctly, and she was painting over her glossy stickers with the gel, like this, and it made quite a difference, I have to say. Now, in hindsight, the one thing that I would do differently, I think, is I would paint these probably first with the medium gel before I put them in the journal. However, I was getting super excited about getting them in the journal, and it didn't really occur to me to paint them first. Like so many times, I get ridiculously excited, and I don't always think things through in a way that I should. Anyhow, here we have, I'm sticking these stickers on. As you can see, there's graph paper, and I have a piece of floral paper that I've printed out on my printer. What I want to do is I'm going to just lather the medium gel over top of these, because basically I want to see if there's bleeding from the paper. Does the paper that I printed on, how much does it bleed? And I'm just sort of doing a tester before I actually go and start slapping medium gel in these journals, because the thing is, when we buy vintage paper, when we buy paper from the Goodwill, we don't really know how old it is, what kind of dyes they've used. And so I think it's a really good idea to go in and do these testers, especially if we're using paper that we really don't know anything about, meaning vintage paper and inks will react very differently than papers that are more modern. So you can see right away with the medium gel, there is some bleeding from the graph paper. The paper that I printed off didn't do so bad. It didn't bleed actually or run the way that I thought it would. And so what I decided to do was, as I'm sort of waiting for this to dry, I'm like, well, we better go over it with the glue as well and see what happens with that. Because I don't want to, I don't want to obviously ruin and the stickers and the paper and everything. And, inevitably when you add liquid to paper, there's going to be some sort of running of colors or blurring or smudging or what have you. So pleasantly surprised that the paper that I printed actually held up, as I thought, quite well under both the glue and the matte gel. But the graph paper here that I got at the Goodwill, not so much. So especially if you're using vintage books or older books, kids' books, that kind of thing, I would highly recommend you do testing first. Here, I'm just going to rub some of the glitter glue stick on this super shiny sticker, because I want to see how long it would take for the glue stick to dry on its own. When I was playing around with the idea of using the glitter glue stick on these, the one problem I had was that they just really wouldn't dry. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put the white glue on top. Then when I saw what Julie was doing, I thought, let's combine all of this for the best of both worlds. So I used the matte medium gel to really bring down the high gloss of the sticker. Then I used the glitter glue to jazz them up a bit and make them kind of sparkly. And then I used the white glue essentially to help the process just dry faster. So you can see here without the glitter glue, they're a little tiny bit shiny. There's a little shimmer to them, but they're definitely not as glossy as they were when we first started. They're a tiny little bit damp still, and there is a little bit of reflection from the lights up above. Now I'm going to just take this one little sticker, put the gel over it, and leave it to dry, and then see what it looks like in a little bit and how matte it will be. I wanted to show you what these little tester pieces looked like. So you can see the bleeding, like I said. Now, there is a tiny little bit of buckling here. But again, I mean, we're mixing all kinds of mediums and plastics and papers and glues, and so there's bound to be some, some irregularities. What's the other thing that's kind of interesting here? Again, this is at least 4 days. It's still quite tacky, this glue stick. It's a little glitter ASMR. So I thought if I left it eventually it would just dry. But no, apparently not. Interesting. Just when you think you know everything, you find out you don't. Okie dokie. Now, I'm trying to decide which size brush to use, and I decide to go with the smaller one, because as I'm covering over the sticker with the matte medium gel, on the left-hand side that's green, that paper I printed, so I don't want to get too much gel on that, because I don't want that color to bleed. And then as I move over to the other side, I'm kind of just going over it willy-nilly, because that's, again, that's an old dictionary page, and the color didn't bleed from that at all. So now I'm just trying to figure out where another one is in this book, and I just tucked that underneath there so the pages don't stick together. And then again, on this side here, I'm being very careful as I'm going around with the matte medium gel along the side of the paper that I printed off, because I don't want that color to bleed. And then I use the bigger brush on the other side, because as you can see that I put that sticker over, again, old dictionary paper, and I'm not worried that stuff's gonna bleed and make the color run around the edges of the sticker. And here, same sort of thing with this sticker. This is on just ivory colored regular copy paper. And so far I haven't had any problem with any buckling or anything like that. So I'm just sort of, generously going over the sticker with the matte medium gel. And so far so good. And same with this one. Now, this is the graph paper that I got at the Goodwill that I told you about. So I'm using the smaller brush just to be a little bit cautious. If it bleeds a little bit, I mean, they are junk journals. It doesn't totally matter, but I don't want to make a huge mess of it. So I'm just trying to be careful as I'm going around. Oh, and look, here's Sophie. Sophie's like, I don't think you have enough cat hair in that matte gel. I think maybe we should add a few more for you. So here it is, I was going to say a couple hours, but about an hour I left it. And again, it has a bit of a sheen, but not as glossy, not as super duper shiny. A little bit in the light, as you can see there, but I'm really happy with it. And I like the texture that it gives as well. So now I've decided to stick with the yellow glue stick, because it has the least amount of color sort of residue. And I'm just sort of using the side of the glue stick there to glide along those skinnier parts of the flower, just to add a teeny tiny little bit of glitter. I mean, usually with me, more is more, but I don't want to quite overdo it. Now with this sticker, I think the camera pulls it up a little bit. You can see a little bit of the yellowy color that comes off the glue stick, but I quite like it, I have to admit. And again, this is not supposed to be perfect. It is a junk journal, and I like some of these quirky little irregularities and things that happen when I am creating in these journals. I mean, these are not for me. These are going to go on the website. There, you can see the little bit of yellow tinge there. But again, I like, I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but I like it when things aren't 100% perfect. I like it sometimes when the paper is a little bit wrinkly and wobbly, and I like that one turned out great. And now here, I've decided to get a little crazy, and I'm going to use the pink glue stick on this pink rose. So at this point, I have gone over all of these stickers that I'm currently working on with the matte gel. It just is that I didn't think you wanted to see me paint all the stickers. Just like, I made jokes in the other videos about watching paint dry, right? So this is the yellow one on this great fern sticker here, and with me, I joke around, more is more. I'm like, is that enough? No, I think it needs a little bit more. You can see the glitter there. And on this one too, doodly-doo-doo-doo, just zoomed it up a little bit so that we don't spend all day watching me put glitter glue on stickers. Okay, now I'm just going over it with the watery glue mix. I'm being fairly generous but not overdoing it. You don't, I mean, the whole point of this part here for me was to help the glitter glue to dry faster. So I'm just sort of checking. You want to make sure that you don't add too much because you don't want it to bleed through the page on the other side, right? I mean, this is the one concern about using such a watery glue mix. Too much is really going to warp your paper. And even though, like I said, I don't need things to be perfect, you also don't want to make a huge mess. Now, I did get out the gun here, the heat gun, and I thought maybe it would speed things up a little bit. But then I was like, I don't know. This is a plastic sticker, so maybe it wasn't terrible, but I don't get too close to the plastic sticker, of course, with the heat gun. But yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. So now, I let these dry, and this is the next day, and here's the sticker that I went over with the matte gel. It's really matte. The only thing is you can really see the brush strokes on that particular sticker, which I was a little bit surprised about. But here I'm thrilled, I have to admit. I love how these turned out. The paper warped a tiny bit, but I'm okay with that because I do like that. I know some people maybe don't, but I don't mind it. And this sticker, this came out great as well. We've got the glitter, you know, I think just the right amount. And here is another one of the tinier little stickers that I did in the front. And I was very careful, none of the graph paper bled. This was the one I used a little bit of the blue glue stick on. And when I first put it on, I was afraid I'd put too much. But once it dried, it turned out great. And I was really happy with it. And then I'm just going to look for, where is the other one? I know it's here. I know it's here. I know it's here. And I'm looking for one of the ones, this one. This one I just put over the dictionary page. And these ones came out really nicely. And with that one in particular, I didn't have to be super careful because I wasn't painting over paper that would bleed. This one's one of my favorites, I have to admit. This turned out really great. So this is a really easy way to add a little bit of pizzazz, if you will, and especially if you're somebody like me and you do like to add this glitter. I mean, there's certainly lots of ways to add glitter to a paper or to a sticker, but this for me was sort of an interesting idea because I was doing two things at once. I was getting rid of the shine on the sticker, and I've had these stickers forever, and I wasn't ever going to use them until I saw Julie do this with hers, and then I was like, okay, so I can get rid of the gloss, and I can add the glitter from the glue stick at the same time. So for me, this was a win-win. And so it's simple, it's easy. If you don't have the matte gel, you could just go ahead and use the glitter glue and go over it with the white glue, and you will still get a much more matted sticker, meaning matte, M-A-T-T-E, something that might have a little bit of a sheen, but certainly not that super duper shiny high gloss. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you will find it helpful. And if you have any questions, please, by all means, leave them in the description box down below. I will leave a link to both the glue sticks in the medium down there as well. So thanks very much for watching. And as I always say, speak kindly to yourselves, enjoy your journal process. And thank you for watching and spending this time with me. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye, everybody. Would you like to say a quick hello, Sophie? Yeah? Would you? Say hi, everybody. Thanks for watching.